ductless mini split heat pump air conditioners are...
Okay, seems like we are live. How you guys doing? What's new? What's cooking in your world of PMP exam preparation? I hope you're doing great. As always, it's your friend Phil here, trainer and coach with Praizion, along with my lousy sidekick. You already know who this is. You've seen him, should I say you've seen it. Oh, that's a bit cruel. I probably shouldn't refer to it. Oh, sorry, him. Shouldn't refer to him as an it. This is Pimpy, your friend. I'm being mean to Pimpy because he was mean to you guys the last time we met. How you doing, Pimpy? Say hello.
Hello.
Are you going to be nice tonight?
Maybe.
Okay. So what are you going to teach people? Are you going to teach people the tricks? The one trick to get you defeated?
That would be a bit stupid of me, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Do you want to keep hanging around? Getting pounded by these students? They're going to take you out one way or another, Pimpy.
We'll see about that.
Indeed, we will see about that, Pimpy. Now go to your little corner over there. He gets so miserable, it's probably best I just keep him out of the shot, you know. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing awesome. I hope you're doing great. And I hope your prep is coming along, you know. First of all, I wanted to talk about the one lie that I was told about the PMP exam. But I'm going to keep that, maybe I'll keep that till later, okay? But for now, I wanted to cut to the chase and begin talking about some solid things that can help you with your PMP prep. First solid thing is get great training and coaching. I'm not talking about a great course. I'm talking about mentoring and training from an instructor that can give you tips, tricks, guidelines, help you understand what you don't understand. You know, there's a difference between going over a course and getting stuck and not having anyone. All you have is customer support. Customer support knows nothing about the PMBOK guide. You know, you show them the PMBOK's mugshot and they're scrambling for the hills. They're like, what's that? Is that a Scud missile? It's huge. So you want systems and processes, but you also want humans that can help. Okay? So if you don't have a trainer or coach, I want to advise you to get onto a program like ours where you can send messages to your coach, your trainer, asking for direction, for help, for videos. Okay? I have to talk about these things. I know some people feel very uncomfortable the moment I say get on a course that works. This one, because they think one is trying to sell. I'm not trying to sell, I'm trying to help. Because too many people going for junk courses and getting stuck. Now with that out of the way, I can proceed to reveal the one trick that I think can help you kill this exam. And this one trick revolves around page 25. Okay? Page 25 in the PMBOK guide is many things to different people. To some people, it's a nice challenge. It's a nice challenge to memorize. But to some people, they hate it because they've got no mechanism for understanding. Now, a few months ago, it's unbelievable, I think it was July or August, I started a series about Wacky Mnemonics. Well, I'm going to finish that series tonight, but I will expand on it in the future. I don't know when, but it's taken so long to get to this point that I felt, let me just go over all the mnemonics, and that is the one trick that will help newcomers to the PMBOK guide. So I'm going to show you 10 sets of mnemonics all at once that will help you to remember this stuff. Okay? We did integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, and then Tonight, we're going to talk about communications mnemonics. We're going to talk about risk mnemonics. We're going to talk about procurement mnemonics. And last but not least, stakeholder. Are you ready? You're probably like, Phil, I already know page 25. Is that all you're going to talk about tonight? Unfortunately, it is. Lots of people don't know page 25. Alright, so let's talk about the remaining mnemonics we have not covered. And hey, if you are here and you have questions for me about non-page 25 stuff, guess what? I want you to chat it in. What are you waiting for? You got questions about the PMBOK guide? Maybe this page 25 stuff is so boring, so yesterday. Okay, well, chat in something else. Chat in something else you want me to talk about and cover. And like a good project manager, you know what I'm going to do. What do good project managers do these days? They switch from plan A that doesn't work to plan B that does. They go from fully plan driven. They go from the death march of fully plan driven to getting off that bandwagon into being, I'm not talking about agile, I'm talking about hybridization, hybridized. They become a hybrid. They could be agile, then they could be plan driven, fully plan driven, then they could be incremental, then they could be, so I will change my plan for you, okay? But let's cut to the chase and take a look at these wacky mnemonics all at once. Waiting for your chats. Ready? Go. Boom. These are your wacky mnemonics all in one place. Because you asked for it. Someone said, Phil, I've got my exam tomorrow. Are you ever going to finish this wacky mnemonic series? Okay, let's do it. So, integration management. You can see right there on the screen. Those are your wacky mnemonics. David dances delightfully most Mondays playing chords. Okay? Someone says, Phil, what does that stand for? Develop project charter, develop project management plan, direct to manage project work, manage project knowledge, monitor and control project work, perform integrated change control, close project or phase. Here are your scope mnemonics. Prince Charles dances calypso very confidently. Plan, scope management, collect requirements, define scope, create WBS, validate scope, and control scope. Next one. My friends at the PMI, I know you wouldn't like that. PMI doesn't schedule enough during changes. Changing from version 5 to 6, I felt, guys, you didn't schedule enough in advance. It's just a mnemonic. Don't get all emotional. Cubans. Puppies eat delicious croissants. Well, I showed you a picture of a puppy eating those croissants, and that stands for plan cost management, estimate cost, determine budget, and control cost. Next one here, quietly. Project management clowns. And I talk about people who do not obey the triple constraint and just mess around with their projects. I call them project management clowns. And I showed you an image of a clown, remember? That's plan quality management, manage quality, and control quality. When it came to resources, I became a bit indulgent and I went into the world of music and talked about Pete Escovedo, always drums, marvelous conga. Yeah, I'm a musician, I'm biased, but that will help you remember plan, resource management, estimate activity, resources, acquire resources, develop team, manage team, and control resources. Now, cigars. Who else other than Puffy? I found it funny because this is communication, cigars, and Puffy. I don't know if he's puffing cigars at the moment. You know who Puffy is. Alright. Puffy made millions. You remember that funny show he had back in the year 2000? Anyway, let's not go there. Plan communications management, manage communications, and monitor communications. Okay? Now when it comes to communications management, tread carefully because people often mix up managed communications with managed stakeholder engagement, but there's a difference. I've talked about this a few times on the channel. Managed communications is communicating with an intent to conform to your communications management plan and to deliver the promise for communications. On the flip side though, managed stakeholder engagement is all about communicating with an intent to engage, as well as other things. But because both of those processes have a lot of communications in them, people often get lost and say, Phil, I don't understand the difference. So I've covered this on the channel anyway. Just so you know, there are over 700 videos in this channel. So you know what I want you to do? Hit subscribe if you haven't already. You know what else I want you to do? Hit like, so that people will understand your friend Phil is out here trying to help people. It's just help, okay? And if you can't stand the sound of Phil's voice, don't subscribe. I don't want to torture anyone. So don't subscribe. One of my students said, Phil, thank goodness I never have to listen to you ever again. And I said, oh, is that how it is? All right, you're going to have to take the RMP and the SP and the ACP. And then, I'm just joking. All right. So anyway, that's the difference between managed communications and managed stakeholder engagement. All right, risk, really. Painters in preschool prefer painting in markers. They do quite a good job, I might add. So what does this all stand for? Plan risk management, identify risks, perform qualitative risk analysis, perform quantitative risk analysis, plan risk responses, implement risk responses, and monitor risks. Someone says, Phil, why do I need plan risk responses when I have plan risk management? Well, the reason is plan risk management is planning how to plan your responses. So they're not the same thing. It's planning how to identify the risks, planning how to analyze the risks, and planning how to monitor the risks. Okay? So that's that. I just want to comment really quick that these things right here within planning, that's about 5% of your exam when you really boil it down. So it all adds up. I'm not saying you're going to get 1% from every single one of the 5, but collectively, plan risk management, identify risk, perform qualitative, perform quantitative, and plan risk responses. Look at that as a chunk of 5%. For these other ones like Puffy, that P, plan, communications management, that's roughly 1. Think of it in that fashion. And in that way, at the bottom here, we've got 24 processes in planning. Each one covers or takes up 1% of the exam. Think of it like that, because planning is 24% of the exam. Okay? So painters in preschool prefer painting in markers. Well, go figure. It's a wacky mnemonic. Doesn't need to make absolute sense, does it? Okay. Next one, well, people who don't like the Royals, well, they probably won't be very impressed. And people who can't stand Meghan, they probably won't like this. So I'm probably going to get a lot of, Phil, I don't like that mnemonic. Why couldn't you use something else? Hey, it's a mnemonic. Get over it. Prince Charles's Camilla. It is what it is. Camilla is who she is right now. So, plan, procurement management, conduct procurement, and control procurements. That's what that stands for. So you're looking at roughly, if you look at this whole procurement, you're looking at roughly 1 for plan procurement management. You're looking at 3%, or 3.1% to be exact, for Charles's, and for Camilla, you're looking at 2.5%. So really, if you add it all up, what are you going to get? If you add up 1 plus 3 plus 2.5, you get what? 6.5. That's kind of beefy. Well, that's 6.5% of your exam from procurement. If you look at the one I just mentioned for risk, and you add up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 3, 8, plus 2.5, that's like 10.5, bordering on 11. Actually, it's 10.6, because that's 3.1. So 10.6 of your exam could come from risk. That's why people say risk is big. It's true. If you look at the economies of scale of all of these knowledge areas, like I've covered in the previous videos, you'll find out that integration is the bomb, is huge, 25%. And then you come down to risk and it's like 11, almost killer. So 35% of your exam could come from 2 knowledge areas. That's a huge discovery. All right, so we've talked about procurement. Let's go down to smoke. All right. I prefer making money. Don't you? That's why you go to work. That's why you try to deliver. That's why you're in the daily grind of 9 to 5, trying to make a buck or more. Some of you making millions. Some of you like, Phil, I don't need this PMP thing. Making millions. Good for you. Well, still, you can even make billies if you know how to manage your millies. The way to make your billies is to get more efficient. So even if you make millions, project management is still relevant. That's why firms like Warren's firms are learning project management. I trained a firm out there in the Midwest owned by Mr. Buffett, and I got a ton of them certified. So if they were happy with the billies, they wouldn't even want to know more project management. Maybe they'll make trillies this time. But anyway, true story, true story. In fact, I just mentioned one of my students, he finished the course on a Friday and got certified on a Thursday. It was from Warren Buffett's company that I trained out there in somewhere in Georgia. Name withheld. All right. I prefer making money. All right. So I stands for identify stakeholders. P, prefer, stands for plan stakeholder engagement. M stands for manage stakeholder engagement. It's not manage stakeholders, it's manage stakeholder engagement. You can't manage your stakeholders because many of them don't report to you. Well, you could manage a few if they do report to you, but if they don't, the word manage stakeholder isn't appropriate. So manage stakeholder engagement. Last but not least, we've got monitor stakeholder engagement. Before, they used the word control. In the 6th edition, they intentionally changed it. So again, this is one of my power knowledge areas that covers a boatload of different aspects on the exam. It covers a boatload of marks, I should say, on the exam. All right. So let me see. I got a couple of chats, so 3 chats that I would like to address. So can I do that for a second? Let me address what I just saw come in. I saw a remark. Let me look at this other machine. Hang on. Okay, Hope. Hi Hope, how you doing? Thank you for chatting in, I appreciate that. Hope says, this from PMBOK, page 261, the EV being measured needs to be related to the PMB. Maya, how you doing? Good to see you. Were you taking the exam like a few weeks back, Maya? I'm losing track. And the EV measured cannot be greater. Okay, do you know what? Stick around. Hey Dvon, how you doing? I got your message on the last video. So Hope, stick around. I'm going to answer your question. Dvon, good to see you. I hope I answered your yesterday's question. Finally, when I posted, I think I posted an answer to it. I think you were asking for PM Succeed. So I believe I chatted that in. I hope I did. Okay. Let's see. Yep, I hope I did. I hope I... Woo! Fantastic! I knew you said you were taking the exam. You killed it with all above targets. My, oh my. That is absolutely awesome. Congrats to you. And hey, why haven't you sent me an email to tell me this? Don't you know that that is what keeps me in the lab? That's what keeps me going to defeat PMP. That's what keeps me in the lab, working and working away. So, Maya, congrats to you. Hats off to you. Why don't you share some lessons with our friends right here? The last minute advice was great. Thank you. Hey, chat in. What was the last minute advice I gave you? Help me, help me. And if there's a video, Maya, that I created for you and it's somewhere on YouTube, I know you're a PMP, but let's give back. Do me a favor, find that video and please chat in Oh, you don't have my email. It's support. Let me chat that into you. It's support at Praizion.com. Please chat them in, or text that in or email that in. Good Lord, can't even think straight because you're now PMP. I am so delighted and excited. You know, when someone who has been on these calls finally says, Phil, I killed it, you make my day. Seriously, make my day big time. So I appreciate that, and I am on cloud 9 because I do a session specifically for that? I think I did. So chat in, Maya. Please chat in and help the people on the call right now understand how on earth were you able to get 5 above targets. To some people that only happens in fairy tale land. Wow. I told you your boy Phil is dropping some crazy gold for you. What are you doing with it? Look at how Maya took the gold I dropped for him and used it to get 5 ATs. 5! That is so sick. In a good way. Sick good. Makes Pimpy sick. That's what it does. Right, Pimpy? Makes you sick?
You got that right.
I knew he wouldn't like it. Moaning in his corner. Well done, Maya. Fantastic. Oh, the configuration management video? Good. Hey, I can hardly contain my excitement. Now I need to focus. Otherwise, I'm going to derail this meeting in celebration. So let me focus and then I can go celebrate. And Maya, you know I've got a little goodie for you. When you send that email, you know what we're going to send you. We're going to send you a special congratulatory audiobook that will help you on your trajectory after this miserable, like pimpy, exam. Now you've got the exam done, I'm going to give you some power tips. It's read by one of my buddies, Peter Baker, voice talent. You know, great guy. He reads, you know, he's not a PMP, but he reads this whole thing about how you can take your life after the PMP exam to the next level. I think you'll enjoy it, you know. So if you want that MP3 that Peter worked on with me, shoot us that email, okay? Just Maya, you know, and we're gonna get you that MP3. I think you'll find it very interesting. So for people who say, I don't want to hear Phil ever again, okay, you don't have to listen to my audiobook. But I'm going to be sending that to Maya, all right? Well, of course, you're not listening to Phil. I just did myself in, didn't I? It's not me, it's Peter. So you still won't be listening to Phil ever again. Okay. With all that out of the way, I was talking about stakeholder, and I lost track. I got so excited with this news. But I was talking about I prefer making money, all right? And I said, if you add up, I was talking about how this is a power process. So if you add up in the area of initiating, right, you got to identify stakeholders. That is roughly 6.5%. Planned stakeholder engagement, roughly 1%. Add them together, you get 7.5. Then add another 3.1, you get 10.6. And then add another 2.5. You get, I believe it's 13.1. Excuse me if my maths is rusty. I just got done with a 3-hour PMP bootcamp, by the way. So I might be a little bit rusty because my brain's trying to catch up with a lot of things. So I think it's 13.6%, 6.5 plus 1, 7.5 plus 3.1, 10.6 plus 2.5. Yeah, I believe it's 13.1. 13.1? I hope so. Someone else help me do the math, you know. But anyway, stakeholder in economies of scale, integration, risk, stakeholder, those are huge. Those are big. When you add them all up, integration, 25, risk, I believe I said, what did I say? Can someone remind me what percent risk covers? I think I said 11. Yep. So that's 36, roughly, plus now another 13. Wow. That's almost 50% of the exam. So almost 50% of your exam comes from 3 knowledge areas. I didn't even know that. Integration, risk, and stakeholder. Goodness gracious. You see how I'm dropping gold to help people? That's what Maya did. He came on these calls, right? He listened to what I was saying. I know I may go off on a rabbit trail from time to time, right? Like a kid in the candy store. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be dropping gold for people on these calls. If the call is not going to add value, I ain't going to do it. The moment you see videos from me, you know I have something sensible to tell you. I'm not just here to deliver content that has no value. I want to deliver content that helps, that works. So our friend Maya says, let us take a look. So reading integration, see? Read integration, understood his buddy Phil wasn't just lying, and he got almost 50 questions. Because I told you it's 25% of the exam. All the maths that I do on these calls, it all adds up and makes sense. He's telling you right now. He watched the configuration video where I tell you about the difference between change management and configuration management. And then he said, oh, you want to do the RMP? So we've got a new course for the RMP. If you go to the website, risk, let me make sure it's the right one. There's so much content out there that sometimes, go to risktutors.com. If you really want to get RMP certified, you need to check out these videos from the Risk Doctor and I. These will really help you. They will help you truly understand what risk management is from an organic perspective. This is not just cramming chapter 11 in the PMBOK guide. This is really understanding the depth. It goes beyond what is in the PMBOK guide in chapter 11. Obviously, because this is the guy who was responsible for chapter 11 in the PMBOK guide. And when I mention the risk doctor, a lot of folks don't know who my buddy Dave, Dr. David Hilson, is. A lot of people don't know who he is. But he's responsible for what we use a lot in risk management called the, risk breakdown structure. He's responsible for chapter 11 in the PMBOK guide, 6th edition. And talking about going above and beyond the risk management practice guide, right? Is it the practice guide or standard? Good Lord, if he heard right now, he would have a fit. But going beyond that, this course digs into the dregs. So if you're getting ready for the RMP and you haven't checked out this course by Dr. David Hilson and I, go to risktutors.com, check it out. So Maya, that would help you. And I'm going to do this for you because you have been a great help coming on tonight. I'm going to give you 50% off that course. So when you're ready to sign up, just say, Phil, I'm ready to sign up. I'm going to give you a 50% discount. Anyone else who happens to be preparing for RMP and wants this course, let me know when the time comes for your RMP and I will give you a 50% discount. But you have to reference this video. All right? It's not going to be available to everyone, just those who mentioned this video. Okay. Okay, thank you. So you said 12. Okay, 12%, 11%. Okay. All right. Vidrine Jones. UDIH. Is that a mnemonic? Is that a social media short form of something? Because I'm clueless. I don't know what that means. Maya says, I got 10 questions on configuration and change. See? Just like the video that I put out there helped, obviously. Is there a video describing the LMS? Can you put a link to a video that describes the LMS course if there is one? So Dvon, I'll be happy to do that. Let me see if I can bring up the LMS screen just so I can walk you through it very quickly, because I know a lot of people they want to know a bit more about the LMS, and I really haven't done that a lot. I've done a little bit of it, but not as much as I should. So Dvon, let me show you what is on the LMS. Let's see. Now while I'm doing that, let me just show you the mnemonics, and I'm going to bring that up as soon as I find it. As soon as I find it, I will show you. So those are all the mnemonics enlarged that I have been speaking about. You can see all that stuff there. And let me show you what you get on the learning management system really quick. Okay. So, first of all, I should probably show you how do you sign up for the learning management system. Let me show you that first. Alright, so to sign up for the learning management system, you want to go to Praizion.com. When you get to Praizion.com, you go to training menu, you go to PMP and CAPM exams, and you go to this one right here, PMP and CAPM online self-study. Click on that. It opens up another window and it explains everything you get. You get this book right here, Project Management Essentials. Okay, regardless the option you sign up for. If you're in the US, you get the option of choosing between the PDF copy. Some people just prefer PDFs. But there are other people who say, you know what, Phil, I actually would prefer having a book. Some people prefer a physical book, physical copy. And for those people, we provide this book, Project Management Essentials, 500 plus pages, okay, of fun. Actually, let's see how many pages exact. 533 pages, okay. A lot of students have said, Phil, without this I wouldn't have understood the PMBOK guide. So this is very good reading before getting into the craziness of the dregs of the guide, okay. And I say that in a good way, you know. I'm not saying the PMBOK guide is bad, but a lot of people are at sea the moment they open the PMBOK guide. A book like this will help you kind of better digest the PMBOK guide. Talk about the, you know, chewing of the guide, you know, to break it down, the enzymes. This is like that enzyme that will help you as you are studying the guide. So we give you a PDF copy if you want one, but if you're within the US and you say, hey, I want a physical copy, then we give you a physical copy. All right. So you can read all about the course, but when you're ready, you just click on that drop down. There are a number of options, as you can see. Some people prefer the 6-month option. If you go for the 6-month option, you're going to get a boatload of stuff. Okay? Anyone that signs up for the 6-month option is going to get a lot of extras that other folks up here do not get. Okay? One of the extras that I have just recently introduced for people that sign up for this, people that sign up for the 6-month, they're going to be getting my audiobook. Okay? My 20-hour audiobook for the PMP exam. Some people haven't heard of this audiobook, but it's been out there. It's been out there for a while. So this audiobook is called the Project Management Audio Digest. It's out there on Amazon. There are 24 CDs that cover 20 hours of training. So this is a killer weapon for a lot of people getting ready for the exam. Now I'm telling you tonight, I have just introduced this perk. If you sign up for 6 months, you get this worth $175 as part of your sign up. So why wouldn't you sign up when I'm giving $175 value away for free? Now, I will not be giving you a physical copy. Even better, for those of you that have a device like this, also known as a smartphone, I am going to be giving you an MP3 download, which makes it even quicker for you to take the content and begin to use it. So Dvon, maybe you should sign up for the 6 months. Then you're going to have 20 hours of audio. Now, the thing about this audio, it's not just boring old audio. In fact, I would recommend you go check out the review of the audio because it is so worth whatever you put into it, you know. But anyway, so those who sign up for the 6 months, like I said, we recently have introduced this, but you must sign up for 6 months, no less. No 3s, no 1s, no 2s, but the 6. If you sign up for the 6 months, we're going to be giving you that, okay? So that's that. And the other bits and pieces are talked about here. Now, when you finally do sign up, you get on our system, this system right here, and you get access to a bunch of courses. I can't even show you all courses tonight because you won't be very happy I'm taking so much of your time. But this is what it looks like, okay? When you log on, we got a mini test run of some quiz, and then each chapter in the PMBOK guide is broken out very, very thoroughly. As you can see, this is integration. Now, unlike many other courses that bunch up the entire chapter into one video or one set of things, we have each chapter broken out into multiple things. So we've got a 1-minute summary, we've got a CTTCs section, concepts, trends, tailoring and considerations for Agile, then develop project charter and all of the processes in integration broken into detail. A lot of detail, folks. I mean, this is as detailed as it gets. If you click on any one of those, it shows you how much time has been dedicated to a process. 6 times 7 is 42. Could you imagine if all of the videos were 6 minutes for each process? But that's not the case. Sometimes we go beyond 15 minutes where necessary. For example, in Manage Project Knowledge, take a look at this video. There's a boatload of information to talk about under Manage Project Knowledge. Oh my goodness, it is bordering on 18 minutes for one process. Are you kidding me? Of course not. You need to go this deep. You need to go this deep to really understand. And then you see your body fail every now and again. So there's that engagement. You know, you're not just seeing a PowerPoint slide, a static PowerPoint slide. You're seeing a very dynamic presentation of this content. And I'm going into a lot of detail. Trust me, a boatload of detail. You know, in the past number of months, I have featured a lot of my students from an organization, or I should say an institution, known as Thomas Jefferson University. I've featured a lot of them. And some of these guys and gals, in fact, they're more gals than guys. They're now 2 guys, but they're more gals. But they dismantle the exam. And when I say, okay, share with me how you did that. Those of you who were on the call with Justin, we spoke to Justin on Saturday, who was part of that class. Now, the quite interesting thing about these folks, majority of them, they did not have early access to the PMBOK guide. They did not have early access to the Project Management Essentials book that I just showed you. But what they did have access to, guess what? They had access to a boatload of videos. These videos. So a lot of these folks, after going through these videos, they were battle ready. And they were able to take the exam out in a huge way. You see? So these videos right here, I know they look like just line items, but no, you got some quality stuff here. There is a tutorial on change requests, a deep dive into change request. You see that? And some of you must have seen this video, another 22 minutes. So this is not for those who want a quick fix scheme. You know, this is for people that mean business in acing the test. You got to put in the time. You know the other cool thing? We have a section on Agile. So folks taking the exam and say, Phil, I'm not sure about what Agile is. Hey, don't worry. We got an Agile Basics for PMP students, as you just saw, right there at the bottom. Agile overview, Agile for your team, self-organizing team, Scrum. Got a boatload of videos here. So this isn't some get PMP certified quick scheme. This is a lot of stuff, a lot of content, all right? And this is a question from Dvon, and I really want to do it justice because I typically don't show all the stuff here. A link to the Scrum Guide by our buddies Ken and Jeff. Introduction to the Product Owner, Kanban, and Scrumban, and all sorts of stuff. And PMP Champions Lessons Learned. Huge repository of lessons learned from all of our bosses. So those are some of the people I mentioned previously. Lauren, Kristen, Nick, Lindsay, all those bosses of mine. Craig, some of you were on that call. Charmaine, I kind of inserted that in a video where she said, I don't want to listen to Phil ever again. And then we kind of played around with what she said there. Irene's lessons learned, bunch of lessons learned. So this isn't just some, like I keep saying, it's not one of those systems that just has, okay, 1 minute for plan risk management. No. This is going deep, folks. This is going very, very deep. Another feature here is Formula Mania. Formula Mania for cost management. So it's one thing to get over cost, but take a look at another 15 minutes in just 1 out of 3 videos on the dreaded earned value. See that? One video, 15 minutes. But what happens if you open the other Formula Mania videos? Video 3, fill in the classroom, another 8 minutes. So this is not, like I say, for those who are looking to just watch 2 hours. 50 hours is what I estimate. You know what my students estimate for this? They say, Phil, 80 hours. One of my students flat out said, Phil, that's not 50 hours, that is 80 hours of video. So I show you all of that so you know when you sign up for the program, you're going to be getting a boatload of stuff. That Excel sheet that you guys see me use a lot of the time, filtering ITTOs, and you're also going to get that if you sign up for the program. You know, that also comes as part of the program. And a lot more, you know, the ability to ask for additional explanations. You've probably seen a lot of the videos from Chetan, one of our students out of India, that has asked for a lot of content, asked very good questions. And I create videos for students that sometimes I even share with other folks so they can better understand the PMBOK, guys. So those are some of the advantages of being a student of ours. Dvon said, can I buy the CD separately? I'm going to do the 3 months. Well, if you look at it, the 3 months is what, Dvon? It's $350. If you add on the $175, it's almost bordering on the same price. Why not just go for the 6 months and get any additional perks that we introduce? Oh, you're doing it in November? Okay, go for the 1 month, and then you can get the depending on when your exam is, you can go for 1 month and then you can get an extension. So the 1 month is 175, but you can extend for another month for just 100, not another 175. Or you can extend for 2 months for, I believe it's 200 on the dot, I believe, or something to that effect, or 190. But it's less. The more months you get, the less it is. Okay. But if you want to know more, just shoot an email. And thanks for showing me. I didn't mean to sidetrack from the mnemonic. Well, anything that makes Pimpy mad, I'm for it. Because right now he's boiling that I'm showing you all of these tricks and extras that you can get from our system. So, yeah, thank you for asking the question. All right. So back to our mnemonics, folks. These mnemonics are going to help you master page 25. But beyond page 25, the question is, do you know your major ITTOs? Because if you don't know your major ITTOs on the PMP exam, it's like a no-show. And that ain't good, you know. Okay, I'm playing on words, but if you don't know your ITTOs, it's like a no-show. And when I say know your ITTOs, I'm not talking about cramming. I'm talking about understanding your ITTOs. There are too many of them. There are too many of them. I really hope, like Maya did. Maya, you need to drop more gold, buddy. Drop some more gold. Drop some more gold. Okay, he says, the PMP exam tomorrow video was awesome. And then he talks about decomposition. Maya said, PICC video helped me to make all questions correct. You got 20 ODDs. What are ODDs? I'm so out of touch with these acronyms. What does ODD mean? Is that some like OPP, the opposite of other people's property? I don't know. What is ODD? Help me, help me. Is it oppositional defiance disorder? I don't know. Help me, Maya. You chatted in the mnemonic. I don't know what it means. What's ODD? Help me. ADD? I'm not sure. Okay. Decomposition, estimation techniques, major. Well, I appreciate you dropping all this gold and helping Maya. But more importantly, that tomorrow video, just help me put some links so people know these links, Maya. I can't remember where all these links are. If you can pull them out and throw them in, it will really help, okay? But thank you very much. Now, this is where I want to answer a question on earned value management from one of our friends, Hope. Hope chatted this in. Hope, remind me, are you on our learning management system? Because I recall a Hope on our LMS, and I'm not sure if it's you. But let's answer this question for Hope. Let's open up the PMBOK guide. I hope Hope is watching. Hopefully. Hope. I'm just messing with you. Okay. Page 261. Let's take a look at page 261. What do we have here, Hope? Hope says, this is from page 261. The earned value being measured needs to be related to the PMB. Absolutely. So if you are measuring earned value, of course it must map back to the performance measurement baseline. That's the whole reason for the PMB, to have a basis for managing and measuring earned value. Okay? So that, of course, is the holy grail of the PMI. And then you said, and the EV measured, yep, very good, cannot be greater than the author. Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, don't get me started, Hope. This is a can of worms. This is a very good question, Hope. Hope, send me a sign. Are you still on the call? Because if you're not on the call, I'm just going to cut it, because this could go into a boatload of information, and I don't want to waste time for poor folks who don't want to be killed with earned value. But if it's of use and you're still on the call, then I will go the full mile to explain it. But here's the summary. This is what PMI are saying in that page 261. Let me go to page 261 one more time, because even though it makes perfect sense in my head, I want to see where you got that. So let's see. Okay, very good. So let me read this for you. Those of you who are not too familiar with what is being said. Okay. So let me read this. All right. On page 261. If you're a good student of the PMBOK guide, hopefully you've got yours next to you. You know it's your companion until you get certified. But it says here, earned value, EV, is a measure of work performed expressed in terms of the budget authorized for that work. Let's read that again. Earned value is a measure of work performed expressed in terms of the budget authorized for that work. So, if I say it will take me $200 to make this, then the work that I perform has to be in the context of the $200 for this. I can't say, oh, I'm done. and change the value of this just because I spent more. No. Even if you spent $500 to make it, the value has to conform to that baseline of $200. Does that make sense? All right. So I think we might have lost Hope. Hope might have abandoned ship. Hope, were you not hopeful enough? Kevin, my friend, how you doing, Kevin? Kevin, your book, it went out today. Your book, it went out in the mail. So you might have gotten a confirmation, and just keep an eye on that tracking number. It's gonna show up in 2 days, Kevin. But good to see you. I hope you are enjoying the course and hitting it hard. What else? Okay, so let me go back to reading this. When it comes to earned value, I can just be a junkie, so excuse my indulgence here. So earned value is a measure of work performed expressed in terms of budget authorized for that work. It is the budget associated with the authorized work that has been completed. The earned value being measured needs to be related to the PMB. So, let me see if I can give you a visual of this. So here's my trusty little flask that keeps things hot or cold. $200 to get this done. This piece right here, the PMB, the performance measurement baseline, says $40. Then what would the PMB be for this piece? Let me say it again. PMB for this, the project management team has said it's $200. But when we go to level 2 of our WBS, this is a deliverable, a component under a control account, if you will, of its own, costing $40 on the PMB. This piece is another arm of a control account. What would it cost? $40 plus. Did anyone get the answer right? Let me put on my specs. Anyone get it right? Kevin said, LMS system is awesome. A ton of great information and very detailed. Thank you very much. Let's get this done, Kevin. Let's kill Pimpy and his hordes. Alright, so performance measurement baseline. Remember, your WBS needs to map back to your PMB. If your PMB says this project to create this, the PMB is $200. This component is $40. This component will be what? Did anyone get it? Everyone's thinking about the LMS, so they're not responding to their buddy Phil. Oh, it's not allowing you? Huh. Okay. Can you break it into, remove the .com and just put the link, you know, that alphanumeric bit at the end, Maya? That alphanumeric bit that looks like gobbledygook, XGK67B, whatever, at the end of the link. Can you just put that piece in? Oh, okay. Well, I'm wondering what we can do, Maya. Maya, can you do me a favor, and you're on the Savage on Saturday group, Maya? Can you put that under one of my chats? Because I'm so sure you're in the Savage on Saturday group. Remind me, Maya, are you in the Savage on Saturday group? Alright. So anyway, let me advance so that I can hit the nail on the head what Hope was asking. So if this is 40 and this is, of course, it will be 160. What the PMI are trying to say is if you complete this piece, the earned value for this piece cannot be more than $40. The earned value for this cannot be $60. Oh, but I spent $80 on it. No, it cannot be more than the PMB. The PMB is 40 for this. The PMB for this is 160. Now someone says, oh, during the project, guess what? Well, we had a delay and certain parts were late. So instead of this costing us 160 to complete, we actually spent 10% more. It ended up being 176 actual cost. Tough luck. You said it would be 160, so the value, the price tag, the earned value tag rather, can only be 160, not more. If you spent 176, that is your actual cost. That is not your earned value. Earned value must always map back to the PMB. Now if someone says, but Phil, wait a minute, I got more money from management and it was authorized. Well, if it was authorized, that means your PMB changed. You did a rebaseline. And if you do a rebaseline, then it now becomes 176. What you project in the future you would spend plus 40, $216. So in that case, you can say that your earned value for this piece, not this piece, you can say, oh, it's 176, but no more. Your earned value cannot be more than your PMB. Your actual cost on a horrendous project could be. You could end up spending 2 million instead of 1 million. But that doesn't mean your earned value is converted to the 2 million. No, it's still 1 million. You got 1 million value and you paid 2 million. Have you guys ever bought a defective product and you couldn't exchange and they said buy as is, no warranty? You ended up buying the thing and you ended up spending much more to get it fixed because you thought it was working but it really wasn't. The value is still $5. The price tag of the cost factor may be $100, but it doesn't now make it worth $100. It's only worth $5, but you spent so much money on it. Now, if you did use that money not to just get it to work, but you actually worked on some enhancements on the project by going through the right channels and doing a change to your PMB, your cost, time, scope, and all those other parameters, then we're talking about an improvement to what you originally had. And because it's gone through the proper channels of performing integrated change control, then of course we're not just talking about the original PMB. It has been revised, it has been updated with permission. Okay, so I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I think I went off on a mild tangent because I could have done much more. I would have read several more pages and tried to explain more. But I'm hoping that Hope will watch the video. I'm hopeful that Hope will watch the video. Awesome. Thank you very much, Maya, for that link. So I'm going to take that link and I am going to find the mystery video for you. Let's see. Okay, so, let's see. Could it be that one? Is it integration management in 2 minutes? Maya, is it that? Integration management in 2 minutes? I can't, is it that? Okay, show. Okay. Alright, good. So now people can see what you meant, Maya. Thank you very much for chatting in. Let me see if I can pull up another video. That's the cool thing about Google. You just type that into Google and it finds the video for you. So there we go. There's another video. Oh, analyze earned value like a boss. Okay, that one. Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, very good. It's funny, that one on integration that Emily and I did, that was a while back. So I'm glad you found that one to be helpful. Okay, let me put that one in there. Yeah, that was years ago. Okay. Where are we? Alright. There you go. Alright. So, any additional questions? So, Maya, what is the video, the PICC video? I can only guess, you know. Kevin, I've got no idea which video it was. You know, sometimes I actually have to Google my own videos to find them because, like I said, on this channel there are over 700 videos. I'm just going to type in PICC and Praizion and see if anything comes up. Oh, could it be this? I think it's this video I did at JCI when I taught them. I think it's this video. Thank you, Maya. Okay. I think that video is... Maybe that's what you're asking for, Kevin? Not sure. Okay, which one is this? Oh, brainwashing. ITTO brainwashing. Good Lord, you've really watched a lot of these videos, Maya. But hey, because Maya's sharing these videos, listen to what he's saying. Because if he could get 5AT across the board, and he's telling you these things helped him, you better believe it. Better believe it. Okay? So, what you guys have been watching and listening to over the past number of minutes is the trick to memorizing and getting all of these mnemonics into your head. Also, I shared our learning management system and what it contains. And last but not least, I'm going to share with you the one lie that I was told about the PMP exam that almost killed my PMP exam journey. So, I went to my boss's office casually one day just to share an idea. I didn't know how rattled he was going to get with the idea. So I said, you know, I've been speaking to Mary, and Mary thought it would be a good idea if I got certified. Would you be willing to sponsor me to go for PMP exam training? I'll never forget the look on his face. Absolute disgust and extremely dismissive of the whole topic. What? That piece of paper, that thing, that certification that Mary says she has? Don't waste your time. You cannot replace my 25 years of experience with a piece of paper. Now, that wasn't where I was going. I wasn't trying to elevate myself in any way. I just said, hey, I want to take the PMP exam. And this is what I get from a lot of people. A lot of people get very emotional when you talk about the PMP. So you're saying that because I don't have a PMP, you're better than me? I didn't say that. I don't even have a PMP. I just want to study. But he didn't like it. So he said, you cannot replace 25 years of my experience with a piece of paper. Forget it. Don't do it. And I remember standing there just blinking, like, did this guy just shoot down my dream of getting a better job? Seems like he almost did. Because I started having second thoughts. Don't take the PMP exam. Ridiculous. What are you doing? You're going to waste $555? And you're going to waste all your time? It's only at the end of the day going to be a piece of paper in your folder. So don't do it. Don't waste your time. Why don't you go for a degree instead? Now, that's not what he said, but it equated to things like that. PMP is ridiculous. Fully plan driven. You see, this is where people get it wrong. People think that fully plan driven is what the PMBOK guide is. I just laugh. If you've cared to read the guide, where's the guide? Here it is. If you've cared to read the guide, folks, you realize it's not really preaching fully plan driven. It's not. It's just telling you to think of these areas. Areas. Tell me if agile in some way does not include scope, schedule, cost, risk, quality, the people part, the resources. Of course it does. Servant leadership is front and center. The Scrum Master is a servant leader's front and center. So when you talk about the PMBOK guide, people are missing it. The PMBOK guide is just a reminder. So people getting all emotional. PMI is just it's a certification mill and dumb things like that. People are missing it because they are suggestions of how you can better manage these areas, things you need to think about. But some people get all emotional about it and they become weird. Like I was told, forget the PMP exam. So I went back to my seat and I remember sitting down. Now here's the comic relief for the day. As I was being told, you cannot replace this with a piece of paper. At the same time, our program was going down. And it was going down quick. It was running out of the ability to be airborne quickly. And I began to look, hey, I can't even charge my time anymore because I ain't got nothing to do. I ain't got nothing to do because these folks are about to pull the contract. Because our project was doing woefully. Talk about risk management. Obviously, Mr. 25 years of experience didn't have a solid risk management approach. So we're going down quick. Now, what was really painful was on one occasion, because I was very heavily involved in the numbers and the crunching. So on one occasion, we're taking a look at the records and, oh my goodness, Phil worked 100 hours this week? Oh my gosh. That is, it's just Phil. It's just Phil. If it was Jane that spent 100 hours, that would have put us in some trouble, because Jane makes $150 an hour. Phil's making peanuts. Thank goodness it's just Phil. Phew. Did you just insult the fact that I'm gainfully employed trying to feed a family? Did you just laugh at my pay scale? You didn't just do that. Okay. This right here is the one reason why I will get PMP certified and leave this joke of a business unit. And that day I decided enough is enough. Phil, who you're laughing at, will get this certification and use it to his advantage. So I decided to boss up. It was hard. $555 for the exam was hard. Forget boot camp. Remember, oh, Phil, he's earning peanuts. 100 hours of Phil. Oh, I can even pay for that in my sleep. So Phil decided to do it. And that's why I powered up, honed in on the stuff, boom, got certified. And watch this. I've talked about this so many times, even on the intro video. My salary went up when I left that organization and started working as a PMP. 300%. 300%. So I went from what I was making to making high six figures and beyond. And it got to the point I was able to save six figures. It doesn't get any better than that from someone who was being laughed at for his pay scale, you see. So that one lie that I was told, Phil, you can't replace my years of experience with a piece of paper. Well, less than a year later, I was on a similar scale as this individual who laughed and mocked my salary. You see what I'm saying? So if anyone has lied to you that the PMP is a piece of paper, to them it will be a piece of paper. But to you it will be an energy bringer. It will be a motivator for other people. And guess what? To your organization, if you really are practicing what it means to get PMP certified, what should you be? A value bringer. You bring value. How do you bring value? Systems, processes, procedures are out of whack. You bring structure and order. People are goofing off with their schedule. There's no schedule. You bring an awareness of scheduling. You bring an awareness of how to schedule using methods that fit the firm. You bring release planning to the firm. People are, oh, I never knew such a thing. This makes sense. Or you bring a concept that they didn't even know about. That's what being a PMP is all about. Adding value to yourself, adding value to your firm. So folks, that one lie, I almost bought into it. But I'm very happy I did not buy into the lie. Phil, you can't replace my experience with a piece of paper. Don't do it. Well, Phil bought into the lie, and then he said, no, I'm not going to buy into the lie. He threw it on the ground. He looked at the mockery. Has anyone ever made a mockery of your salary? That is enough to make your head go bonkers, as we say in the UK. It's enough to get you boiling to the point of explosion. You didn't just make fun, you know? And I could relate to that guy on the Cosby Show who was being made fun of because they saw him working at Trader Joe's. I'm like, why would you do that? He's gainfully employed, he's honestly employed, he's trying to make a living, trying to support his family, and then you make fun of the fact that he's working at an establishment that is legally recognized. It's so unfair. So, if anyone has told you lies about the PMP exam, don't buy into it. If anyone has told you lies about yourself, without saying explicitly, you'll never amount to much. You'll never get there. I remember someone who said, Phil, I don't think that job fits your abilities. You didn't just say that. Because I went from, this is a second job by the way, somewhere else. I went from that job to doing exactly what this person had said. You might not be very good at this. I went from that to doing work with folks, entities like NASA, like the FBI, like the US Air Force out in Europe. I went from that. Phil, you probably won't amount to anything more than a behind-the-desk project coordinator, you know. To go from there to affecting folks all over the world, it totally contradicts that lie. So if someone has told you lies, you'll never amount to much, you'll never do this, you'll never do that, oh, you're going to be dwarfed and stunted. Don't buy into all those lies. You got to think, you know, above that idea of this is your altitude. You know, Zig Ziglar, he says, it's your attitude that determines your altitude. Your attitude. You got a good attitude, it will determine your altitude. And have a can-do attitude. Okay? I had a can-do attitude. I said, I'm going to get out of this. You didn't just make fun of my salary. And boom. Less than 3 months from that incident, I was out. I was out, you know, and worked for the likes of the Motorola's of this world, the Honeywells of this world. Worked at GD for a while, you know. So I did the grind of project and program management. So guys, I want to encourage you, go for the PMP. And your universe is going to be even bigger than you ever imagined. When you take what someone said, it's just a piece of paper. Take that. Don't just take the status of PMP. You're going to take the knowledge that comes with it. The abilities that come with it after you get certified. Because trust me, someone says, oh, there are no abilities with the PMP. It's just a test. Don't kid yourself. Hey, you know, when I'm writing reviews for my students on LinkedIn, I totally respect what they've been through to become a boss, to become a don. Because anyone who has a PMP, I don't care if you said, Phil, I only got 1 AT, or Phil, I got 3 T's and no A. I don't care. You're still a boss in your own right because you've delivered what it takes to become a PMP. So I usually write a review to the point of this person did what a lot of people didn't do. A lot of people didn't finish. I know tons of PMs who come for my courses. They get great grades. They kill my mock exam. And they never follow through. So anyone who has become a PMP, you're a boss in my eyes because you have followed through. You have brought it. You've delivered, like Maya on the call tonight. Maya is a boss. Okay? Maya, let me show some of this. Oh, Maya said the coolest chapter of the PMP exam. Okay, that video. Cool. Well, let me let you guys get on with your studying for tonight. Maya says, I really recommend while driving, moving, traveling, as you see his videos, while giving the PMP exam. He said, while taking the PMP exam, Phil will come to your mind. Let me tell you a true story. Some of my students say, Phil, I was on the PMP exam and I heard you telling me the answers. I find that so hilarious because I wish I had those superpowers. Like Professor X, Maya, the answer is B. I wish I had those abilities. Or the abilities of Jean Grey. Forget it. I'll just put people into a time warp and walk into the exam and tell you all the answers. No. I'll still obey the code of ethics and professional conduct. Okay? Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed our discussion today about the mnemonics. I hope this has added value to someone. At this point, if you have any questions that I can answer about the PMP exam, anything else, I will be more than happy, to do that. But if there are no questions, then we're going to call it a night. But Maya, you are boss. I respect your efforts. And you've got my highest regard and respect for you to be able to do that and coming back to the channel to drop some gold. Because you don't have to. Some people are like, oh, that failed. Yeah, he helped me with my PMP, but he's a bit of a nutcase. I don't want him to ask me to come train his class or to attend one of his Saturday sessions to give back. So they keep at arm's length. That failed is a loose cannon. Let me not let him know I'm out here because he may ask me to deliver training. You bet I'm going to ask you, because that's what the code of ethics is all about. Giving back to people, right? People getting ready. So Maya, I respect you. I'm grateful. Thank you very much. All those of you getting ready for the exam, you can absolutely do it. Don't let anyone, not even yourself. Yesterday night, I talked about you being a barrier. If you can overcome the biggest barrier yourself, then you'll be laughing all the way to the score bank, just like Maya did. You'll be getting your 5 ATs. Bottom line is you'll be getting certified as a PMP. All right? So thank you very much for sticking with me. I know it's been a bit of a long one, but you've not heard from me for a little while. So when I come drop these videos for hours on end, I hope you'll understand. All right. So from me, I want to say my good night. And I think I also have a character here who would like to say good night to you.
Leave me alone. You've shared too much, and you'll be punished.
I'll be punished? For what? What did I do wrong?
You shared too much.
He said I shared too much with you guys. Can you beat that? Here I am trying to help, and Pimpy says I shared too much. Say bye to them. Bye. Uh-oh, your voice is gone. Pimpy's voice is gone. Okay, folks. Thank you very much. Take care. And bye for now. I think Maya said something else that I just wanted to say. Maya said, I know, look at his disgusted look. Maya said I answered about 30 to 40 of his questions. Phil, what's the answer? Do you hear me? I wish I had those powers. I really wish I did. Good night, folks.
Welcome back. We're about to talk about the Risk Management Professional Content Outline. So David, can you take us through an overview of what this content outline is all about?
Yes, in our first introduction, if you listen to that, we talked about the structure of the content outline having domains, tasks, knowledge and skills. And there are 5 domains. These are the sorts of areas that a risk management specialist in the area of projects needs to be familiar with and practicing and skilled in order to pass this certification and, more importantly, to be an effective risk manager in projects. So the 5 domains are these. Domain 1 is risk strategy and planning. That's about understanding which direction this particular project is going to go in for its risk management. Then we've got, very importantly, stakeholder engagement. That's domain 2. Domain 3 is risk process facilitation, and that's actually making sure that the process that the project team follows is effective and works and delivers. The 4th domain is risk monitoring and reporting, so making sure that the process itself is delivering. And then lastly, the 5th domain is to perform specialized risk analyses, which are things that only a risk specialist would be able to do in the project. So those are the 5 domains. And I think we're going to start at the beginning. We'll talk about domain 1 first, shall we?
Absolutely. So risk strategy and planning. David, why is this in the Risk Management Professional Content Outline, and what should project managers be looking out for here?
Well, it's not project managers. Remember, it's the risk management specialists. And that's a key thing, and a lot of people are going to make exactly that same, not a mistake, just a refocusing. This is not for project managers, this is for the risk management specialist. So this is not project strategy and planning. Project strategy is the responsibility of the project manager, the project sponsor, and key stakeholders. But for the risk strategy and planning, then that's something that the risk specialist should contribute to. And so what we're saying here is that on the projects that have significant risk or significant complexity to need a risk specialist, and of course not all projects do, smaller, simpler projects may have risk tasks just undertaken by a member of the project team or the project manager themselves. But if your project is big enough and complex enough to need its own risk specialist, then the risk specialist is the one who can advise on what the risk strategy should be for the project. So projects exist. The reason we do projects is to take risk on behalf of our project owner, our project sponsor, and the stakeholders. What we're doing is we're saying, let's try and do something that's never been done before. Projects are unique and complex, and so we're taking risk by launching a project. And the whole purpose of project management is actually to manage risk on behalf of our project sponsor and our stakeholders. And so what we need to be sure of in each project is that we take the right level of risk. How risky is the project, and is that within the overall risk capacity of the organisation? So we're not taking such a risky project that we might blow the whole organisation out of the water. It needs to be within the overall risk appetite of the organisation, and we'll talk about these things a little bit later. So the organisation needs to have a view of how much risk the organisation wants to take, and within that context, how much risk are we taking with this project? And then we need to match the risk tolerances of our stakeholders to the risks that we actually take on the project. All of these are strategic decisions. They're about the positioning of the project within the portfolio that the organisation is undertaking. And the only person who's really qualified to advise on how risky the project is and whether that risk is acceptable is the risk specialist. So we need to take the right level of risk and then take the right risks safely. And the strategy and planning domain is about the first part of that, understanding what is the right level of risk to take on this project, and then planning to take that safely. The risk professional is best placed to understand which risk approach is appropriate and necessary for the project to achieve its objectives within the level of risk that is involved in that project and the available resources of the project team. So it's really important to see that risk strategy for the project is a key part of the overall strategic planning for the project, but there's a risk element to this which may require specialist input. And the other thing just to say at the beginning of this domain, domain 1, is that it's very closely linked to domain 2, which is stakeholder engagement. Right. Because when we're devising the risk strategy, clearly we need to talk to our key stakeholders, to our project sponsor, to our senior managers, to our clients, to our users, and to make sure that the risk strategy that we set for the project is consistent with the level of risk that they want to take in the program, in the organization, for our clients and users. And so we need to engage our stakeholders clearly as part of developing the risk strategy. So we'll find some overlap in the tasks between Domain 1, risk strategy and planning, and Domain 2, stakeholder engagement. But here we're going to focus, aren't we, just on Domain 1?
Domain 1, absolutely. So when we come back, we're going to take a look at the different tasks in Domain 1.
So, Pimpy, did you like what Dr. David Hilson had to say? Did you enjoy that video clip?
No, I think it was so stupid.
You're always negative. Stop being so negative. I know you want people to have a hard time on the exam, but that's your business. Stop being so negative. Ignore him, alright? So, that was a video from the risk management professional course that we have out there on risktutors.com. Okay, so if you're getting ready to take the PMP exam, go to risk tutor, I beg your pardon, the RMP exam. I've got PMP on the brain. You're getting ready for the RMP exam, go to risktutors.com. Maya, one of our students, asked about this course a few moments ago, so I thought it would make sense to show it to you. So that is an excerpt from the PMI-RMP course that we have out there on risktutors.com. Okay, so for anyone who means business in acing the exam, I would recommend that you go there. If you're really keen on taking the RMP and you want to truly understand what risk management is, going to the next level. You heard what David said. This is not for the project manager. This is for the risk specialist. So if you're truly in the trenches of risk management, okay, and you are thinking of taking the PMI-RMP exam, you want to go to that next level, this course on risktutors.com, you really absolutely want to watch it. All right. Now, for those friends of mine who are getting ready for the PMP exam, not the RMP exam, but the PMP exam, I would like to indulge you just a little. I would like to show you a video here. And this is from our PMP training course. Because for the PMP exam, if you want to master risk management, there's a different hat that you wear. Okay? You don't wear the hat of risk specialist. You get into the methodology. So there's a difference between the overall strategy. But when you talk about methodology, we're going a little bit into the practicalities of how risk could work from a project management perspective. All right? And that's what we're going to be watching in the next few moments. I'm going to be showing you a video. Let's see, Pimpy, which video should I show people here?
I couldn't be bothered. Show them what you like.
Well, you just made a huge blunder. You know what I'm going to do, Pimpy? I'm going to show them the beefiest risk video that we've got. Because I know you would rather I show them a video of... How many minutes should I show them?
Just 0.5.
You want me to show them a 0.5 minute? That's like 30 seconds. How stingy of you, Pimpy. I'm going to show my buddies on the call right now. I'm going to show them a video of one of the most miserable processes in the PMBOK guide. You guys already know this process, notorious, because there's so much stuff in it. I'm talking about perform qualitative risk analysis. You know, I know a lot of people think it's perform quantitative risk analysis. but it's actually not. Did you know that?
Of course I did.
Of course you did. You're PMP, the PMP exam, so hopefully you did know that. Well, go to your corner, buddy. And let me just show you here why I'm telling you that risk is off the chain. I mean, perform qualitative risk analysis off the chain. It's one of those processes where people don't realize there is so much stuff. So much stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at the tools and techniques of perform qualitative risk analysis, just to give you an idea. So what exactly is perform qualitative risk analysis? One, we're gathering data. Okay? It says data gathering techniques that can be used for perform qualitative risk analysis are not limited to interviews, structured or semi-structured interviews, which can be used to assess the probability and impacts of project risk. So did you ever look at perform qualitative as a data gathering endeavor? It is. It's there on page 422. Okay. What about data analysis? Perform qualitative risk analysis is a data analysis. You probably knew that. But it's a data analysis of several things. See that? It's a data analysis of your data quality. Okay? So the quality of your data. Next, it's an analysis of probability and impact in a qualitative sense. High, medium, low, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1 to 10, or 1 to 8, depending on whatever it is. It's also an assessment of other risk parameters. A lot of people never even hit this page in the PMBOK guide, so they get lost. Urgency. The urgency, it has a high urgency if we need to respond to it now for it to be effective. If we don't respond to it now, we have trouble. Proximity, dormancy, manageability, controllability, detectability. So all of those additional assessments, connectivity, strategic input, and the ambiguous sounding propinquity, they are all talked about on page 424. You know, I remember being in a firm in the UK and I used the word propinquity and they're like, no, that's not a word. Until I showed them in the guide. They found it quite amusing. Go check out what it means. Okay. And then in addition to this, you need interpersonal and team skills, because when you are assessing risks, people get a little bit jittery. Are you trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about? I said it's a 5 out of 10. Why are you trying to diminish my view? You need interpersonal skills, project manager. Risk categorization. I talked about the risk breakdown structure. Well, you use it in perform qualitative. What about data representation, your probability and impact matrix? You know, you could use a big old matrix and you could get people to put their risk descriptions where the risk score intersects. You know, it's a 5 and a 10, you got a 50, you put the risk there with its description, and you do that very quickly across a team of maybe 10, 12 people. It helps you very quickly see where are the dupes in the risks we've identified. Which ones are at the top right quadrant in red that we need to take care of before others, or we need to discuss before others. Maybe rearrange, you know, maybe review. Oh, Phil said it's a 10. John said it's a 5. Why? If there are disconnects, let's discuss. That kind of thing. So data representation helps. Hierarchical charts. So here we talk about your bubble chart, which is a rather interesting one as well, on page 426. That bubble chart showing detectability, proximity, and impact value. And the size of the bubbles shows you one thing. The bigger the bubble is, the higher the impact value, the higher the impact it is. And proximity, the lower it is, down on that y-axis, the lower the proximity. So that's an interesting one to look at on page 426. What about meetings? Of course, we have a lot of meetings in perform qualitative. And then there's so many things that you get out of your project documents updates. Not just your risk register, but also possibly your issue log, your assumption log, and the risk report. So the summary, guys, of all I'm talking about, it's a quick lesson in Perform Qualitative. Quick. Mind you, this goes on for many more minutes in the learning management system. But I just wanted to talk about it as an intro to what I'm about to show you. Because now I'm going to show you the video for Perform Qualitative Risk Analysis from our learning management system. Alright? Are you ready to go? I know Pimpy wanted me to show you a 0.5 stingy little creature. He wanted me to show you a 0.5 minute video. What good is a 0.5 minute video, Pimpy? No, probably doesn't know, probably doesn't care. But anyway, let's go to our Perform Qualitative Risk Analysis video, and I hope you find this useful. Let's go. Perform Qualitative Risk. What is qualitative risk analysis? Take a look at the screen and you can see the traffic lights, the red, yellows, and greens. And what do these mean? Well, this really means that a risk is high, medium, or low. Why do we want to categorize a risk as high, medium, or low? To categorize the risks in order of importance. Those risks that have a high probability, those risks that have a high impact, we want to be aware of them. And the cumulative and overall effect is going to be explored further down in quantitative risk analysis. But for now, what we would like to do is categorize the risks. We want to categorize the risks according to the risk breakdown structure. We could categorize the risks by high, medium, low. And we do this by using something called a risk score, probability rating of the risk on a scale, impact rating of the risk on a scale, multiply those two, and you could get a number. As you can see here, we've got a 16. That is the second highest risk. The highest one is 4 times 5, a 20. So a risk with a higher probability and a higher impact is likely to be on our higher priority list for treating the risks. So our main goal here is to categorize and rank identified risks. Some people may go ahead and decide to do a risk urgency assessment to find out which risks do we need to treat right now. If we don't treat them today, we're going to be in bigger trouble tomorrow. We're going to have a bigger risk, or we won't even be able to run the project. So that's really the main goal of Perform Qualitative Risk Analysis. Those high priority risks, those urgent risks, we want to get them to the top, and we want to begin to work on them as quickly as possible. So our main mission here is to analyze identified risks by assigning a risk score and or prioritizing the risks. So let's take a look at our inputs here. First input is the big plan that tells us what to do, the project management plan. But don't forget, it contains the risk management plan. And the risk management plan guides us on how to carry out qualitative risk analysis. It also gives us an idea about risk categories. The definition of impact scales that we're going to use is also here. The probability and impact matrix. Stakeholder risk thresholds. There's so much information in the risk management plan that makes it very relevant. Now don't forget, we could have additional plans that are relevant to this process, but the main one is the risk management plan. The next input is project documents. Project documents of relevance here could include the assumptions log. You need to be aware of your assumptions. Risk register, of course. Remember, I told you in a previous project to look out for this hidden gem. The risk register needs to be an input to lots of these risk processes once it's created. In fact, once you create your risk register, you see it within the project documents as a sub-input. For me, this is one of the biggest inputs because without your risk register, you really cannot rank or categorize the risk, can you? Last but not least, the stakeholder register is also relevant here because in our stakeholder register, we may be able to glean stakeholders who could become risk owners. Some people say, Phil, I don't have any risk owner, I own all the risks. But on some projects, you do have risk owners. The next input is EEFs, enterprise environmental factors. Think industry studies on similar projects. Think about published data regarding risks from similar projects. And we also have OPAs, organizational process assets. The process assets in question here are those that can influence qualitative risk analysis, and specifically information from previous projects can help us here. Let's talk about the tools and techniques. Expert judgment, of course, expertise in ranking risks, expertise in carrying out qualitative risk analysis, understanding and awareness of what was done on a similar past project is also relevant here. We have data gathering as our next one. Data gathering, we could have interviews. We could have the interviews as being semi-structured or fully structured. And the main goal of the interviewer is to promote an environment of trust. One of the things I've seen in a lot of risk workshops I've done is people hesitating to call out risks or people hesitating to categorize risks. People feel if they call out a particular risk, they'll be in trouble. Or if they categorize it as high, they'll run into trouble. It's the job of whoever is conducting the interview to put people at ease so they get realistic data. The next tool and technique is data analysis. Under data analysis, we have risk data quality assessment. Now, a risk data quality assessment is exactly as it implies. Assessing risk data for quality. Trying to find out if there is indeed quality in the risk data. And if there's not quality, if it's bogus data, fake data, unreliable data, what needs to be done? The project manager and the team need to start from ground zero, collecting the data all over again, or start from the point at which the data started becoming corrupt. So that's our main goal, to make sure within this risk data quality assessment that the data is realistic, it's complete, it's objective, it's relevant, and it's timely. Still under data analysis, we have risk, probability, and impact assessment. And this is an assessment of each risk to assess the probability on a scale based on the guidelines in the risk management plan, and also to assess the impact on a scale based on the guidelines in the risk management plan. Definitely expert judgment will come into play here using a risk, probability, and impact assessment. One of the things to note with our risk, probability, and impact assessment is the risk score, probability rating times impact rating. If you have a scale of 1 to 5 and a risk probability is a 3, you multiply it by the risk impact, which may be a 4, you get a 12. Now that information needs to be gathered for all the risks, and those risks that come to the top, like I showed you in the example, 20 and 16 were the highest. But you could also have risks that are 1 in terms of the risk score, or 1 times 1 to give a 1, or 2 times 2 to give a 4. But those risks shouldn't be forgotten. Those risks should be put on a risk watch list. Really, your risk watch list is the lower items in the risk register. Those that fall to the bottom, keep monitoring them. Don't forget them. They could become very toxic and dangerous. So it's important that we keep an eye on those lower level risks because they could become really bad. Let's take a look at one more bullet point here. It's a rather important one, and this is under data analysis. and it's assessment of other risk parameters. Now, there are a variety of other parameters to be considered when you identify risks, when you analyze risks, and I talked about risk urgency previously. Risk urgency refers to the period of time within which a response to the risk is needed. It means that if you don't take action on a risk right now, then it's almost as good as not taking any action. It will not be effective when you finally do. So an urgent risk is one in which you need to take action now. We call that risk urgency. We also have proximity, the period of time before the risk may have an impact on one or more of the project objectives. So if a risk is left untreated and it hits a project objective in a few days, that has a high proximity. Or if it impacts the project next week, we could look at that as having a high proximity. We also have a term called dormancy, the period of time that could elapse before a risk is discovered. We have manageability, the ease in which the risk could be managed by whoever is responsible for it, usually called a risk owner. We have controllability, the degree to which the risk owner is able to control the risk's outcome. Detectability, how easy is it to detect the risk? Some risk could be under the radar for a long period of time undiscovered. Where the risk occurrence can easily be detected, we say it has a high detectability, and where it flies under the radar for almost all the project, we could say it has a low detectability. We also have a term connectivity, used to describe if a risk is connected to many other risks. If a risk is not connected to any other risk, it has a low connectivity. If it has a relationship to many other risks, then we could say it has a high connectivity. We also need to be aware of strategic impact, the potential of the risk to have either a good or bad effect on the organization's strategic business objectives. When a risk has a major effect on the company's strategic business goals, we could say the strategic impact is high. We have a term called propinquity. This is the degree to which a risk is perceived as important by one or more stakeholders. When a risk seems to trouble stakeholders very significantly, we could say the propinquity is high. Where a risk does not seem to be of concern to any of the stakeholders or does not matter to them, we could say propinquity is low. Having an idea of these additional characteristics, I know there are lots of them, but this could help the understanding and perception of risks to better manage risks on the project. The next tool and technique here is interpersonal and team skills. Project manager definitely needs these for facilitation. There's a lot of work to be done, getting all the data, rallying the troops in qualitative risk analysis, and for that reason, the ability to facilitate a team, to facilitate team efforts, to cut out the waste of time and get down to the bottom of the data that needs to be discovered and discussed. Facilitation is just a huge, huge benefit. Also, the project manager may find him or herself having to iron out any disagreements and to uncover any sources of biases. The next tool and technique is risk categorization. Risk categorization can be done using the WBS or the RBS. These categories that we use to define risks should have been previously defined in the risk management plan. The next tool and technique is data representation. How do we represent the data? Well, we could use the probability and impact matrix. Remember, this is documented in the risk management plan. We could also use hierarchical charts, and hierarchical charts could be used where we have categorized risks using one or more parameters. We could have a chart showing risks by proximity and detectability. We could have a bubble chart showing risks by urgency and propinquity, for example. So all of these categories of risks could be used to show those that are low in proximity, high in proximity, those that are low in detectability and high in detectability. There is an example of a bubble chart in the PMBOK guide that illustrates this. Take a look at figure 11-10 for a good understanding of how these risks could look in a chart. Last but not least, final tool and technique is meetings, the meeting of the minds. In order to get mileage, folks, you're going to have meetings. I know some people hate them, but we only want to invite the relevant people to the meetings, and we want to cut out the crud and the waste. Go straight to the point. So meetings are very helpful tool and technique here. Now we have a very strange output from this process because there's only one output, and it looks like one we've seen a million times. It's project documents updates. So let me ask you, can you guess which project document should be the first thing to mention here? I'm waiting. Hello? Did you get it? The risk register. You definitely want to put your risk register up front in your head. Now, I know in the world of the PMI, there's so many documents, but the risk register, hey, that's what we've been working on. Now, the PMI, they list out assumptions log, issue log, risk register, risk report, and it's kind of alphabetical, but hey, you want that big ticket item to stand out. The risk register, boom, that one first. And of course, a risk report. You could have an updated risk report after all of this analysis that you've done. Okay? And that concludes our perform qualitative risk analysis process. Big one for your exam. Do not confuse qualitative with quantitative risk analysis. They are two different things. You need to be absolutely aware of the differences. When it comes to qualitative, we're talking about categorizing risks, ranking risks, putting them in groups for further action. We are not talking about money at this point. We're not talking about the cost of the risks. We're not talking about the resource or man hours that are associated with a particular risk. That comes in quantitative. So it's very important here to know what qualitative risk analysis is all about. Yes, it deals with numbers on a scale, but it is qualitative data. Okay? And that concludes our review of perform qualitative risk analysis. So I hope you enjoyed those clips that I showed you. First one, you saw the risk doctor along with your buddy Phil, just casually going through some helpful information for the RMP exam. And then in the next video, it was an excerpt from our course, online course for the PMP exam. And I often tell folks, it's as good as it gets, you know. Going through one process, taking the pain and the time to get you some gain by going through the entire gamut of the ITTOS. Not just reading, oh, meetings. No, really analyzing what exactly do you do in a meeting within this process. You see, so at this point, I'm going back to questions. If you have got questions, I want you to ask them. That's one of the features of the channel. It's not about being a spectator, it's about being a participator. Some students, YouTube students, have asked brilliant questions. Brilliant. We got a brilliant question from Hope a couple of hours ago. Hope asked a question about earned value. I think page 261 or so, wherever that page is. But those are the kind of questions I'm looking for. And for Hope to have asked a question that deep, it tells me someone is mining for the detail. So as you mine for the detail in the PMBOK guide, if you got questions, I expect you to ask the questions when you come on these calls. All right? So, are there any questions showstoppers, problems that you have encountered on the exam. If there are no questions, I'm going to go back to some additional content to share with you, but I'm hoping that someone will have questions, because we learn, talk about managed project knowledge. Well, we learn when people ask questions. Nobody asks questions. No one's asking questions, then we're not going to learn as much as we could, Okay, well, if there are no questions, I will go ahead at Pimpy's Horror, and I'll share more content with you, just to give you an idea of some of the bits and pieces that we have in our curricula, okay? So in this one, I'm going to share with you, it's audio this time. I'll share with you some audio. I'll share with you our execution scenario. Okay, scenario from executing from the series. Some people don't know the series. I'm talking about the series, the Project Management Audio Digest. All right. So what I'm going to be sharing from you is an excerpt from this set. Okay, Project Management Audio Digest. There are, believe it or not, 24 CDs. It's ridiculous. 24 CDs. And get this, 20 hours. 20 hours. So what I'm going to play for you right now is really but the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg. So why don't I play that now for you guys? Since everyone's trying to be queued up in here, not asking me questions, I have to work twice as hard. That's a good PMP question, by the way. The project manager needs to work twice as hard. Why? Because people aren't communicating. No one's asking me questions. So I got to work twice as hard. Okay, it's going to be an excerpt from this. And it's, like I said, it's a scenario of the executing process group. So let's listen to it. I'll be shutting this down in a little bit. I'll let it play a couple of times, and I'll come back and I'll comment. All right, let's go.
Chapter 3. Executing Process Group Scenario. Julia, a team member, is extremely interested in the executing process group. She asks Mary, the project manager, a series of questions during lunch to learn more about what a project manager does in executing. The truth is, Julia has registered for the PMP exam but doesn't want her colleagues to know, just in case she flunks the test.
I was wondering if you could explain to me what you do in the executing process group on such a humongous project. I know I'm part of it, but I really want to learn the secrets.
What do I do in executing? Well, I direct and manage the execution of the project from an integrative perspective, and I execute the project management plan. On a project like this one, there are so many things to be done, but they must all be effectively coordinated and integrated.
What are some of the detailed tasks you do in this process group?
Well, the team is involved in performing quality assurance on the project. Quality assurance involves the project team checking their work processes. Most times, it entails me driving around the site ensuring everyone is getting their work done the right way even before the final deliverables are produced, or should I say exhumed from the site.
Geez, tell me about it. The stench from that site, gold and precious pearls or not. Anyway, what are we doing on this project that falls into project execution?
Executing is all about carrying out the project management plan, remember? Well, that includes our plan for human resource management and acquiring the team through negotiating with functional managers or external agencies that provide temporary resources.
Tell me about it. That's how you got me.
Yes, and Deanne, Jim, and Bobby too. It took executing the plan on how to acquire a team using all available resources. Also in this process group, there are team-building activities. We call this the Develop Project Team Process. On this project, we will be taking a trip to the Ancient Ruins Museum, and from there, we will go up to Pinnacle Peak for our barbecue. We shall then spend the rest of the evening watching 60s movies and playing games.
Horseplay! Wow, that sounds cool.
It's a lot of fun purposefully to build team chemistry and cohesion to function as a unit. You know how the dig has taken its toll on the team.
Exactly. I hear Zakari beats Pincus to a pulp daily due to the weather delays and such.
Not just Pincus, actually. All of us.
Yeah. So how come other project managers don't build this fun in-team building into their projects?
Some do, some don't. It's all in the mindset and the flexibility which stems from building these activities into the schedule from the word go. You need to plan it in. I mean, how can the team effectively work together if there's no chemistry? Remember the 5 stages of team development?
Yes. Forming, storming, performing, and all that?
Exactly. Well, it's important as a project manager that I increase the possibility for the team to develop cohesively. Another part of developing the team is training. Sending the team for training.
Like our engineering and IT skills workshop?
Absolutely. Did you learn anything from those?
Sure. I can see the project from a much wider perspective. And I now understand the value of mining the data I do and how to do it quicker and better.
Good. Another process in executing is the Manage Project Team process, also part of the Human Resource Management knowledge area. In this process, we...
Wait, let me guess. That's where we got told off by you and micromanaged.
No, not at all. At least that's not how it should be. It's more about observing and conversing with the team, having project performance appraisals, resolving any conflict among team members, and having those one-on-one touch points formally or informally. Not about bossing the team about.
Interesting. That would explain all those water cooler conversations I hear you having with various team members during lunch.
So someone's been eavesdropping, eh?
What else happens in executing?
Girl, you are so interested in this.
I sure am. Hopefully I'll become a PMP some years down the road like you, Mary. I really look up to your expertise, and I'm just about fed up with number crunching. I want to be a PMP too.
You go, Julia. Well, some other key things in executing are distributing project information, such as reports and project documentation, and also managing stakeholders' wants and needs, also called stakeholder expectations.
Tell me about it. I hear Salvador Joe is a pain in the neck and Zakari is a weird old bird. Talk about Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Well, this is a challenging client, but we are thankful we have them. Think about how many jobs this project has provided for the organization. Be nice now, Julia.
I guess you're right. Their strange demands have provided dozens of jobs.
And not just that. It has advanced the archaeology and engineering professions. Think about the bright side of it. Anyway, to round this up, since I have a performance review with the team shortly, the final process in executing is called conduct procurements. This is where we, the buyer, send out RFPs, RFIs, and the like to potential sellers for them to respond with proposals. We assess the proposals and select a seller or sellers and award a contract after negotiating. It's as simple as that.
Thanks for your time, Mary.
Hey, no problem, Julia. Anytime.
Executing the project in plain terms. In order to execute the project work, the team needs the project management plan. It is the role of the project manager to ensure that the work is executed according to the plan. The project manager may work with functional managers on the project team to ensure that work being carried out is performed according to the plan and the right quality standards.
Alright, well that's the end of the little overview that I had for you guys from our series Project Management Audio Digest. This is available on Amazon for people who want to get a hard copy. For people who want the soft copy, it's on Praizion.com. Alright, so that's all for now. Who knows when I'll be back again? Hopefully without him. But thank you very much for joining. I know you thought the meeting was over when we first of all got done with the mnemonics and the lies that I've been told about the PMP exam. But I just wanted to share a few more of those bits, especially since Maya said that he's interested in the RMP exam. So I thought Maya might find that interesting to watch. For those of you just joining, go watch so that you can get all of this stuff that I shared earlier, the mnemonics, and lots of other information. I see I do not have questions in my queue. Well, maybe that is a good sign. I don't know, maybe that means you know everything that you are studying right now, and there are no complexities. I'm always happy to see that there are no like major questions that are making life a misery. But I'm also happy to get the questions if there are any. Anyway, it's funny. But thank you very much. I appreciate you, and we're shutting it down right now. Talk to you guys again, hopefully soon. Bye for now.